Gee's in the house!
These are the exact words. I don't deem you a threat to the general population in the city of Liverpool. Right. I deem you a threat to the criminal fraternity in the city of Liverpool. It's absconded in the last few days.
So you might see him, he might pop up.
6 months after that, I went to that James English podcast. And with that came a lot of clickbaiting rats talking about me, my life. And he was one of them. Frenchie. I've been in a room with James English and I know what I'm looking at. I can see through your fucking eyes. I can see right into you and you're a weak piece of shit. Darren Gee, Kinsella Foundation threatens podcaster.
Sorted anything out with Marvin, Herbert or James English?
It's an on-site thing with them too. But because Herbert's linked to Daniel Kinahan and I'm screaming about Daniel Kinahan because he tried to shoot me dead on my Mars step in March. Look at the SAS gunman, Darren Waterhouse, who came to kill me on the 6th of April. A police officer abused me when I was a kid in a chair with a bandage on me. Now, as soon as I've seen that photo, brought everything right back to me.
Welcome back to season 3 of the Criminal Connection podcast. I want to say a massive thank you to all our season 3 sponsors. We love you. Big thanks to our sponsor, IME. This global tech outfit ain't messing about. They've got these slick video interviews that have you connecting like there's no tomorrow. Whether you're running a business, running the streets, or doing your own thing. Perfect for those in marketing, recruitment, admissions, and even for auditions. And their platform, smooth as silk, designed with you lot in mind. IME's the ticket to making those connections count. A big thanks to Wildcrest Events for sponsoring the show. From adrenaline pumping sporting events to chart topping sensations, Wildcrest Events have them all. Make sure you drop them a line down below. And if you put in CCP5 off, you will get a 5% discount. Now that's a proper good deal. VIP security services have been established for 35 years. VIP Security offers a personal security service to escort you, your family and your friends, whether on business or out for the evening. Protect what's important to you. We're watching you while others are watching us. Prevention is always better than the cure. You're in safe hands. Security solutions across Essex, London and the home counties. So if you'd like to find out about any of our fabulous sponsors, make sure you check out the links in the description below.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name is Terry Stone and today we've got a very special guest. He is a legend of Liverpool. He's known as Darren Gee and he has got a massive message that he's been pushing out for a number of years about putting down the knife and ending knife crime. I'm honoured to have him on the show, so please put your hands together for Mr. Darren Gee's in the house! Woo-hoo! Thanks for coming on, Darren.
Nice to meet you, Terry.
It's really good to meet you too, buddy. And I love that choose a life, not a life. I mean, it's a great fucking message, and I think it's more relevant now than it's ever been. What was the drive behind that? Did you literally come up with that message yourself?
It popped into my life, mate. A lot of people know already. I was looking on committing suicide.
Right.
Before I was going to do it. I'm fresh out of jail, so these iPhones are brand new to me.
Right.
So I'm looking for self-help.
Right.
And as I'm searching for that, to stop myself doing myself.
Right.
I've looked, nothing's worked, cleaned everywhere up, got the blade, about to do myself, and my phone goes bing.
Right.
And where I've been searching, I don't think the phone must pop up things that you've been searching for or something. And choose a life, not a knife popped up.
Wow. And you thought, I'm stealing that?
Well, it took me away from my knife.
Wow.
And that's how I carried it then from there. So it prevented me from... So that's where it established itself, to prevent people harming themselves with knives.
Right. Well,
harming themselves.
I think it's a good message.
As it's gone along,
yeah,
it went into knife crime, then gun crime, then gang crime, then organised crime groups.
Right.
And that's where it is now.
Right, amazing.
Trying to educate the kids to stay away from the drug dealing and that path of life, because it's just destroying them, isn't it?
Well, what I find interesting, Darren, is like when you look at, when I was, in my 20s, I was putting on dance parties all around the world. And obviously there was knife crime and gun crime, but it was a small component of that life. But it seems as things have moved on and as life has moved on, it seems that everybody is carrying a blade now. And I actually did speak to some younger kids, and they're kids like 14, 15-year-olds, and I actually said to them, why are you carrying knives? And they said, for protection. And I honestly want to find a way of sort of stopping this. And I don't know how we do it, but I think obviously people like you that are very vocal about it, and obviously you've been through the life. So to actually be able to say, look, guys, I've been through it. I could have ended up doing this, and I stopped myself doing it. And I think it's like educating others, you know, showing them the right path.
It's encouraging them to take the right path. It's not telling them what to take. It's like encouraging them. Look, you've got that path or that path.
Yeah.
Open your eyes, look down it, because you've seen your elders go down that path. Some are dead, some are in jail, some are rotting away, and then you've seen your other elders go down this path. They've got a wife, they've got a kids, they've got a house, they're going on holidays.
Right.
Pick.
Right.
It's choose your life.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? That's what.
So your actual background, I take it you was born in Liverpool.
Yeah, born and bred in Liverpool.
So you was born and bred in Liverpool. And how old are you now, Darren?
45.
Wow. So what was it like growing up as a kid? You know, you said earlier you had a big family.
Well, there's five brothers, isn't there? And then my mum and my dad. But my dad worked in London down these ends.
Right.
So our upbringing was just atrocious, really.
Right.
Abuse, mental, physical. So there's just five brothers. By the time we're 12, my younger brother Danny burns our house down.
Wow.
But we'd already had social services involved with us from the ages of 9.
Right.
So when Danny's burnt the house down, that was the opportunity for them to place us in care.
Right.
So then we just go into the care system, and then that's us.
Wow. So you're
Care system, YP system, adult system, and then changed my life.
So you're at the time when you was talking about obviously the abuse and stuff, was that was it just because your mum and dad didn't look after you, or was it?
Well, a police officer abused me when I was a kid.
Right.
So there was a police officer assigned to our family, you know, because we were unruly.
Right.
Back
Okay.
in the day, they used to assign a police officer to you.
Right.
And this police officer called Dave Dowling. Now, him and my dad used to take me to this church.
Right.
That's all I can remember about it,
Right.
because I'd fall asleep. So
Right.
it's like they were drugging me in the car on the way to the church.
Wow.
I buried this for years, but whilst I was in jail, when I've gone to jail years later,
Right.
I'm thinking over a lot of stuff.
Right.
And I've got out of jail, and where I've been in jail, all my legal documentation, I was posting out to my mother's house
Right.
and telling her to put it in the loft for me.
Right.
So when I've got out, I've gone to my mother's house, got in the loft, and as I'm looking for my paperwork, come across a box.
Right.
And in this box was loads of social services documentation with regards to me,
Wow.
and a few photographs
Right.
of me in a school uniform, sat in this big, barrister's office from the 70s,
Right.
in a chair with a bandage on me. Now, as soon as I've seen that photo, it brought everything right back to me.
Wow.
So what happened on that occasion was, I've woke up on this chair with 3 men in front of me,
Right.
the pants hanging down, and I've scrapped with them. I've struggled, and they've broke my arm. And then what they've done is they've got me, put my school, because I should have been in school, they've put my school uniform back on me, bandaged me, and then took a photo of me.
Right.
So when I found that photo, it just brought everything back to me.
I mean, that is fucking, horrendous, Darren. I mean, just hearing
Well,
it.
I'm fresh out of prison. So now I've got questions for me mum.
Right.
So who's Uncle Danny, mum? Because that's what he was called, Uncle Danny. Big fella, suit, baldy head, flashing £50 notes. This is when we're like 6 and 7 in the house.
Right. Fucking
So
hell.
it was Uncle Danny who we used to go and see in this church-like building.
I mean, do you think he was sort of giving your mum and dad money, or do you
That's
think?
what I think.
Right. Wow.
That's what it was like. It's like my dad was involved.
I mean, that is fucking.
My mum knew we were going.
Right.
So when I've got out of custody and I found this, then I started asking my mum,
Right.
what are you lying for? Who's Uncle Danny? Where did he come from? Where's he gone? What was he doing to us?
Right.
And she just couldn't keep on lying.
Right.
So to get herself out the situation, she's called someone. I don't know who it was.
Right.
And that anonymous call has rang the police, saying I'm holding someone hostage in my mum's house with a knife.
Wow.
But at the same time, they're making that phone call. I'm making a phone call. I'm complaining about my ma, historical abuse.
Right.
So I'm on the phone now saying, I'm getting the police involved with you, you cunt. No, because she's lying.
Right.
So 2 sets of police have turned up to the house.
Wow.
My set and their
You
set.
and Kinahan.
But I'm thinking they're coming for me.
Oh, for you, right.
I'm not aware anyone else is calling.
Right.
So now they're telling me to leave the property. Get your stuff and get out and leave me ma's address.
Right.
So we just got all my shit, give it to the police. Said, take that, bag that, because that's historical evidence.
Right.
And then left me ma's house. Haven't spoke to her since.
And the stuff that you experienced, Darren, did your brothers also have the same?
I think my older brother did.
Right, okay. But as siblings, you never really talked about it?
No.
Right, okay.
No.
And then when you obviously went through that, and then you went into the care system.
Yeah.
What? I mean, people that are listening to or watching this podcast will probably have never experienced what it's like to grow up in a care system. I mean, is it kind of really like just being in prison?
Well, yeah, it is prison.
Right.
It's prison for children, basically.
Right.
So if your kids misbehave in your house, they'll get shouted at by the dad or slapped by the mum.
Right.
When we're misbehaving, we're getting beat up by 4 or 5 men.
Right.
And we're only 12.
Wow.
So we're going through a few years of being battered by men before we've even touched the YP system.
So you weren't put in like that you didn't get a sort of into a family unit. It was more like a facility.
No, we were separated.
Right.
So me and Danny went there, Stephen went there, Ian went there, Billy went there, just separated around the city.
Right. Wow.
So I ended up in Dyson Hall with me and Danny.
Right.
In a semi-secure unit called Gladstone.
Right.
And we're only 12, 13, and we want to see our mum. We've just been dragged away from our mum, so we're kicking off. They've put us in a room about the size of 4 of these with 2 beds in, or 5 beds in or something.
Right.
So we're just thrown in this big space with boxies and a t-shirt on.
Right.
So we kick off, start rebelling. They separate me and Danny then. Danny goes into the secure unit, and I'm on a Gladstone unit, and then that's the last time I see Danny until 8 years later in a YP system.
And what? And how was you then? Was it about
12, 13, around them ages.
But you, when you went into you said the YP system.
The YP system, I was 14.
Right. Okay. And then.
So before that, I'm in care.
Right. And then I take it because obviously you feel like you've obviously been ripped away from your family. I take it you was just angry and you just.
That's what you're at. Your mum's not there. They're not letting you see your mum, so you kick off. When you kick off, they call you violent, they call you aggressive, and they just start treating you violent and aggressively.
Right. And I suppose if you're in that environment and you're getting beaten by men, you give it back to them and you just become
a hardened little violent kid because you're getting beat up by men all your life.
Right. Wow.
Not only your dad's battering you, now you're in the custody of these men. These are battering you. It's fucking so it's like.
And when did you come out of that? Was it when you sort of turned 18?
Well, I met this girl called Kate Gilday, and her dad just took me.
Right.
Her mum and dad basically took me away from the care system.
I mean, that must have been like a relief at the time.
It was boss when they came into my life.
And then I take was she like your girlfriend? So you sort of had a
relationship? She was my girlfriend. Yeah.
Right. Amazing. And then what happened after that? Was you?
So I'm just with this family now. I'm still sleeping in Dyson Hall, but I'm being taken by Tommy, and he's got a contact in Dyson Hall called Peter Dooley.
Right.
And he worked nights.
Right.
And Tommy was a bit of a boy in Liverpool, so he's had a word with Peter Dooley. Everyone else had to be at 9 o'clock every night, and I could come round the back door at 12 o'clock and be let in by Dooley.
Right.
So it was good, and then I've got into I've gone to this kids club. And 2 lads, I've had a fight in the kids club the week before, and 2 lads have come, older brothers or something.
Right.
So I'm like 14 now in this kids club. And these 18, 19-year-olds have come in the club looking for me.
Right.
So they've come over to the corner where I am. I'm with 2 girls. And they've said, "Where's Darren? Do you know where Darren Gee is?" And I've said, "Yeah, he's in the toilet." Right. So they went off the toilet, and I've picked the Coke bottle, you know, the glass Coke bottles, went in the toilet after them, and hit one of them with it. Got a Section 20 wounding.
Right.
And got 15 months detained.
Right, fucking hell. So that was your first taste of...
That was my first sentence, yeah, at 14.
Right.
15 months detained. They were harsh sentences.
Right, yeah, for
but
that.
It means you do the full 15.
Right, now you'd have got an ASBO, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Now you'd get an IPP, wouldn't you? For the same offence. So.
Right. And then after that, so you
So I'm in the prison system now. I'm still under the care of the local authorities due to my age.
Yeah.
You know, so I do me 15 months detained, get out, and I'm still under the care of the authorities till I'm 18.
Right.
And then as soon as you're 18, you can just get off and do whatever you want.
And I take it for you, I mean, what was your sort of, did you sort of feel like you'd had a weight taken off your shoulders at that point? Was you sort of like, this is great, I'm not in the fucking care system now, I can actually start living my life? Or was it weird? Because
it was just basically leaving you in the lurch.
Right.
So you're in their care for 6-7 years.
Right. So I suppose it's
And
like
then
being
they drop
thrown
you
out
at the
your
end of
house.
it.
It's
Yeah,
like being
exactly
thrown
the
out your
same
house.
thing. Exactly the
Right.
same thing, mate, yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave you in the lurch. You're an adult now, bye.
Wow.
Just leave you out there to fend for yourself, and you end up going back to your parents.
Right.
The people you've kept you away from for years, all of a sudden,
Wow.
they're the only place you can go.
So you ended up going back to your...
Yeah, back to my ma's house,
right.
yeah.
And what happened then? Did all your... Was your other brothers...
No, because we're all separated still.
Right, okay.
Danny's in prison, Stephen's in prison, Ian lives with his bird down there, Billy lives...
Right.
So we haven't been under the same roof since we were 10.
Wow. So
I haven't seen Danny now since face to face like this since 2004.
2004. Wow, 20 years.
Last time I had Danny standing next to me.
Right. Is he in jail now? Or was he?
Well, he's absconded.
Right. Okay.
He's absconded in the last few days.
Wow. So you might see him. He might pop up.
I'm hoping it's not an emotional abscond. I'm hoping it's a planned abscond.
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah.
If it's an emotional abscond, it's going to go wrong.
Right.
If it's planned, hopefully he's out the fucking country.
Yeah. And for you, Darren, when you went back with your mum, what was the next steps after that? Did you just find yourself at loose end and you just got...
No, I just went... Tommy had died about this time, so the fella that had helped me through the care system, he's gone now, so he's not there no more. So I'm just having to fend for myself, mate, try and make money, dress myself.
Right.
It's not like you hear of the Gee brothers as if the Gee brothers have been brothers dead tight all our lives, when reality, we had 2 years together.
Right, but you was all so you're all your own men, basically.
We've never lived under the same roof.
And for you, Darren, what sort of stuff did you do to sort of get by? Did you go and get a job, or was you just on the street?
Well, when I first come out, so before I went to jail, I used to just run, like, there was loads of building projects around ours, so I used to just go to them anywhere.
Right.
And they used to throw me 15 quid for the day, and I'd be carrying bricks up and down the scaffoldings for them, you know, like that. So I'd do that for mostly. I had a paper round.
Right.
You know, delivering the
All
Mersey
good
Mart.
people had a paper around.
Well, that's what I mean. I had a paper round where I was delivering like 10,000 fucking Mersey Marts for a fiver.
Right.
But it was just ways of making money for myself, you know what I mean?
Right.
Ma's a pisshead, Dad's a pisshead who works in London. And then I just started having to commit crime then.
Right.
So that's who I'm mixing with. I'm out of school, I'm on the estate with the older lads. Right. So I'm being taught their ways of living, which is wrong.
Right. But they, I take it really, because I think this is also happening right now. As kids are on an estate or they're from a deprived background, they're looking at what's going on, and they think, fucking hell, I can go and get a job and just get by, or I can do that. Actually, I'll do that, and then they end up getting into that wrong life.
Well, that's the path, innit?
Yeah.
That's the crossroads that teenagers have got, and they're choosing the wrong road to go down, basically.
And obviously, for you, when you choose that wrong road, what did you start off on? What sort of crimes did you start off?
Robbing cars.
Right. Okay. So that was
because we lived dead close to Anfield's football ground.
Right. Okay.
Every time there's a match day, you'd have 5,000 cars parking around the ground.
So what was it? Stereos, or was it?
Yeah, the face-offs, the CD changes out the boot. No, back in the day when you had the face-offs and CD.
What I always laughed about was if you ever went out with anyone who had one, they'd always unclip it and put it under the seat.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, everyone fucking knows.
Yeah, they just find it in the seat in a little case, don't they? But that's where we started, like, going in the boots and taking golf clubs and making money on them. But we watched elders doing it before we had to go there.
Right.
And then we went from robbing cars to burgling public houses, you know, pubs.
Yeah.
And threshes and stuff like that. And then there was just... We tapped into robbing drug dealers for a bit.
Right.
but it was just creating too many enemies. So we just started dealing drugs.
Right. So yes, I can see that you've gone from sort of the stealing.
At the end of the day, we were doing pure jail, and the dickhead drug dealers was doing no jail.
Right.
So it made sense to us to tap into this because they're not going to jail.
Right. And when you did when you were selling drugs, was it like Class A's or what? Or was it puff? What was
Class A's.
Oh, right, okay. So you went straight in at the deep end.
Yeah.
And was that just you doing it, or was that
Just me initially.
right? Got it.
So I'm around olders, so I half know how to set my own little graft up.
Right.
So
right.
I've gone on a mission with some fellas that I was with, Mikey Wright and that. They've done a mad shooting, being chased. I've been arrested for driving while banned, going to Walton for a few months in Walton. So I only start drug dealing when I'm 21.
Right.
And then 3 years later, I get an 18-year sentence.
Fucking hell. I mean, that's a lot of bird. I mean, what actually happened, Dan? I mean, I take it you expanded it pretty quick.
So basically, the local gangsters wouldn't give us fuck all.
Right.
Because they knew. We tap into this, we're going to basically take control of it. Right. So no one would give us nothing to tap in, and everyone else seemed to be drug dealing.
Right.
But the G's weren't getting no swag off, no c***.
Right.
So we've had to rob their grafters.
Right.
Because they wouldn't give us, all right, we'll rob you.
I suppose they couldn't ring the police, could they?
Well, they did, to be honest.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I spent 6 months inside for their drug dealers. Do you understand what I mean? Asking for money to drop charges and shit.
Wow.
That's the way it used to be. It's still like that now. You just don't see it.
Right.
So I started on a mountain bike with a quarter ounce of crack and a quarter ounce of brown.
Right.
Got out there, started doing my graft. And the lads that I'd gone to jail for.
Right.
So I'd gone to jail for these lads. Never got a visit, never got nothing out of them. So fucked them off. Right. And now I'm out and I've fucked them off and I've started my own little thing.
Right.
They're hating on it. So that creates a bit of a fucking war between Anfield and Scotland Road.
Right. Because I've never been to Liverpool, but Scotland Road, is that like is there like, it's like a north and a south, or is it an east and a west?
No, Scotty's in North Liverpool.
Right.
And so's Anfield, North Liverpool.
Right,
and you'll
okay.
have Toxteth and Dingle, which is South Liverpool.
Right, okay. But I take it everybody hates everybody, do they? So if
No.
you're in that, I didn't know if you was in that bit, you didn't like them people. You know?
No, so that's basically what happened. We go into this mad thing with these lads from Scotty, and I go to jail, and 10, 15 years later, there's a kid stabbed at a bus stop because he's thought to be one of the lads off our estate.
Wow.
So what we started 15 years previously is now affecting generations that weren't even born.
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now you've got kids on the estate saying Grisdale gang.
Right.
And then you've got kids on Scotty saying Scotty gang.
Right.
And these are only 10-year-old kids.
Wow.
But they're developing a hatred for each other because of our conflict 15 years previously.
Wow. Fucking hell. So
And that's happening all over the place. So
Yeah.
in Birmingham, you'll have 2 organised crime groups. You'll have kids watching them. So you'll have 9-year-old kids establishing a hatred for the other opposition. And it just... So even now in Manchester and Liverpool, you've got kids having turf wars and they don't even know why it started.
It's the same in London. It's a postcode thing in London.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
And they don't even know why it originated. What initially started this problem. They're just fighting for the name and the postcode now.
Wow. I suppose it's difficult as well to ever end that. I mean, it's probably a little bit like what's happening in Israel and you know, the Gaza thing, because, you know, they're growing up both sides.
They know.
It's the same.
All these dads and mums that are being wiped out by Israel, they've got kids. Them kids growing up for the rest of their lives hating them.
It's mad, isn't it? It's like, I always look at it, and I've always wanted to sort of like everybody to try and just get along, because if everyone can get along, everyone can have a nice life. You know, we don't need to have people killing each other over bullshit. But it just seems that wherever you are in the world, whether it's London, whether it's Birmingham, whether it's Manchester, whether it's Liverpool, whether it's, in the Middle East, wherever it is, it's sort of like this divide and get people at each other. So it's that divide and conquer thing. And I do think, and I'd love to know how it could be stopped. But,
it can't be stopped.
I was going to say, because you lived the life and you've been there and seen it and done it, and you've now got the T-shirt on.
Right. Anything that starts doesn't stop unless it crashes, basically. It's like the snowball effect.
Right.
So you can start 10 things now and then turn your back on them and they'll continue to snowball without your understanding. Do you understand what I mean?
And as you were going through, obviously being in this, setting up your own thing, I take it you then people started then coming and work with you, and then you built up quite a big sort of thing.
Well, we had a little firm around us anyway.
Right.
We were a little group anyway.
Right.
Do you understand? So when the drugs came in, it just made a lot more people interested in the group.
Got it. So it just got bigger.
Just got bigger, yeah.
And how big did it get? I mean, when you
I don't know what big is, to be honest with you.
Right.
You hear of these people with like 100 kilograms and importing this and importing that. But that's the easy part of drug dealing life.
Right. You was on the road.
I'm on the road.
Right.
That's the hard part of drug dealing. Up there's the easy part. Down here is where the shit happens. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And you said obviously when you actually got arrested, you got 18 years. What was the actual charges?
Conspiracy to murder, conspiracy to possess firearms with intent, conspiracy to blackmail, conspiracy to apply Class A drugs twice, about 3 separate threats to kills on police. Got not guilty on them all except for the conspiracy to murder, and I was convicted on second-hand hearsay.
Right. So somebody got murdered.
Yeah.
And they basically said that you conspired.
No, so my mate's being murdered next to me on the 6th of April.
Right.
And we've gone out and sought revenge on the 18th of May. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So little Craig's being shot dead. My brother's being put in a coma. The kid sat next to me, took a bullet. So within a month of that, we've gone out looking revenge, ended up getting this fella in his garage, and he's been killed. 2 days later, I'm arrested, took into custody on the threats to kill.
Right.
No, murder initially.
Right.
They arrest me for murder, question me for 36 hours, de-arrest me, then arrest me for conspiracy to murder, question me for the allotted time,
Right.
de-arrest me, then arrest me for threats to kill.
Fucking hell, it's like yo-yo.
Just so they can keep me in custody for a long duration of time, do you understand?
Right.
And then charge me on the threats to kill, put me in custody on the threats to kill, which was all lies.
Did they actually have any evidence, or was
None.
it was just done on somebody's hearsay, or was somebody?
No, so
grasped
what's happened is when my mate's being shot dead, who was next to me, his family's being given a liaison officer, a PLO, police liaison officer. So if your son's murdered, the police will give you one, standard. And when she's going through her emotional madness, she's asked me previously who's responsible.
Right.
And I've said to her,
Right.
they're responsible, keep it to yourself, they're getting dealt with.
Right.
She's gone through an emotional fucking thing, crumbled in front of a PLO, started talking, and said, but Darren's told me it's A, B, C, and D.
Wow.
And the name David Regan was on the names I give her, and she's give it to the PLO, and now the PLO's made a statement. So now I go to court, and they've made my mate's mum a prosecution witness against me.
Wow.
So we're going to the trial. I thought it was great. It's good you've made it a prosecution witness. She was getting called as a defence witness.
Right.
So you've made it a prosecution witness. It means it's truthful.
Right.
So we've got it in the dock. Blah, 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 blah. The police are lying. Darren never told me them names. That policewoman's lying. She's lying. I never said that to her. This is what the witness is saying, my mate's mum.
Wow.
So what they've done is made her into a volatile witness.
Right.
And told the jury to discredit her evidence.
Wow.
So the first trial was 28 weeks. I had 5 Codys, 2 Codys walk. We get a hung jury. Second trial was 18 weeks.
Wow.
I get severed from the other coldies.
Right.
They carry on, get acquitted. Now I've got a trial by myself now, and it's a 2-day trial, and the only evidence is the hearsay of the PLO,
Wow.
the police liaison officer. It's the only evidence. So I'm in court now. It's gone from 28 weeks with 8 boxer depositions to 18 week, 4 boxer depositions to me.
Wow.
That's all I've got. And it's 2 statements
Wow.
off a police officer. Wow. Second-hand hearsay. So even the judge and the prosecution are standing up and saying there is no direct evidence linking Mr. G to this crime.
Right.
But look at the circumstantial evidence. And basically that's what I was convicted on.
I suppose, you know, because your mate got murdered and then one of the guys who was involved in his murder got murdered,
He was allegedly...
It was that thing, innit? It's like, well, okay, you know, it's got to be, you know, part of that, and I suppose they need to get somebody to put in jail, right? So,
Well, he basically knew
right.
if I was out, people were getting shot dead, basically. So they wanted me off the streets, full stop. That's why they charged me with the threats to kill. So I go into custody
Right.
on threats to kill.
So the whole thing, that they basically knew that there was basically a gang war erupting.
They
and
knew,
people
they
were
watched
getting
it,
killed.
they let it get to...
Right.
This is what I keep saying to people. What police used to do when gangs started having problems, they'd shut it down instantly. So if there's one shooting at a house, police would be all over it, arresting gang members and getting 2 or 3 years for them.
Wow.
And they weren't happy with that. So what they're doing now is that first incident, that first shooting of the house, they're letting it happen.
Wow.
They know it's happened. They're aware it's going on. They're not stepping in to stop it.
Right.
They're letting it go. And then what they're doing is they'll leave it for 2 years. You'll have that house shot, him shot in the leg, him shot in this, and 2 years later someone's shot dead. And then they'll pop up and go, all yous.
Right.
There you go with 20s.
Wow.
Instead of giving them 3s and the back out, they're sitting back, letting the violence erupt, and then going, now we've got yous.
Right.
Double figures.
So I suppose really for them, I know it sounds mad, but they actually want people to murder people so that they can actually put them
Life
away
them
for,
off.
Right. Wow.
They don't want me for a 5.
Right.
They don't want me for 4 years. They want me lifed off.
Wow.
And they'll wait.
Right. And when you
So see the murders that I ended up going to prison for, they could have prevented that quite easily, like that. They chose not to.
right.
They let it go to there.
And then when you obviously got to that point, Darren, when you got basically sentenced, did you think you was looking at 18 years or did you think...
No, I was told you're getting 35.
You know, so I suppose, I know it sounds mad, but when you get 18...
I was
you
buzzing.
think,
Very happy man, mate.
Yes.
I go in 2-4. So the 18th of May 2-4, and I don't get convicted till June 2-7.
Right.
So I'm in custody for 3.5 years on remand, 2.5 years or something like that on remand.
Wow.
Going through all these trials, conspiracy to supply Class A drugs, firearms, they were all separate trials. So for that 3 years on remand, like a year and 4 months of it was trials.
And then when you actually got the sentence and you went into jail...
He shocked everyone. The judge.
Yeah.
Judge Madison, the recorder of Manchester.
Right.
Because I'm guilty. And I've established in my mind whilst I'm on remand.
Right.
This is me now. This is my life now.
Wow.
I've secured it. I'm ready for the 35 and I've been for like a year now.
Right.
I'm sorted up here with it.
Yeah.
So I'm ready to just get up and take it on the chin.
Right.
But he's just turned around and shocked everyone, saying I'm sentencing you under the old law. Your offence was committed in 2004. The new law was brought in 2005.
Right.
Because your offence was committed in 2004, I've decided to sentence you under the old law.
Wow.
It's the only difference. He put me under the old law instead of the new law.
Thank God it didn't happen a year later.
That's what. But the prosecution was screaming for the
Right.
new law because I was convicted in 2-7.
Right.
But the judge said no, the offence was 2-5.
Right, okay. So it had to go on that.
So it's gone from a mandatory 35 recommendation to a long determinate or a discretionary life sentence.
Wow.
So the discretionary life sentence basically is up to the judge's discretion.
Right.
And he'll work on your history.
Right.
You'll work on your criminal past. And my previous conviction, my last conviction to do with any violence was threats to kill against a senior officer in Walton.
Right.
Threatened to burn his house down, and they prosecuted me and got me 18 months prison for it.
Wow.
So the judge has referred to that to see if he could life me off.
Wow.
But what he said is, because the threat that you made never got carried out,
Right.
so because the Screw's house never got burnt,
Right.
he turned around and said, I don't deem you a threat, this is the exact words, I don't deem you a threat to the general population in the city of Liverpool.
Right.
I deem you a threat to the criminal fraternity in the city of Liverpool.
Right.
And that's why I'm giving you a long determinate sentence of 18 years. Take him down.
Yeah.
Fucking buzzing.
Right. And then when you
They appealed.
you did appeal.
No, they did.
Oh, right. Okay. I was going to say, why would you appeal if you had a touch?
No, I still appealed.
Right. Right.
I still
Fuck
appeal
it.
against conviction.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because nothing to lose.
Right.
Just have a go.
Right.
That's what it was. And that's what the majority of the kids do when they're going not guilties on these
Right.
L sentences.
Right.
They've got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So they drag the family through all mad shit.
And when you had your
So when I got me 18,
right.
I've gone back to jail buzzing.
Right.
And then got a letter under my door off the Attorney General saying the police and the prosecution are not happy with your sentence. They've gone to the Attorney General to ask him to make it into an 18-year life sentence.
Wow.
So now I'm sitting there now for 7 weeks, convinced that they're going to turn it into an 18 life.
And that means you have to serve every year.
Every year of the 18, yeah.
Right. And what happened when you went for
They
the appeal?
refused it. I never went for the appeal.
Right.
They went to the Attorney General
Right.
to get my sentence made into a life sentence.
Right.
But they knocked it back, saying, no, it's adequate enough.
Right. So how long did you do in the end, Darren?
12.
Right. Okay. So you did 12. And what was it? I mean, lots of people that are
From
listening.
12 off the 18. That was
Yeah.
the full term.
Right. Lots of people that are watching and listening to this podcast, most of them may have seen you on social media. Some of them may have watched other podcasts you've done. But you know, when you actually went into that jail system, because you'd already been through that care system before, was it just like a similar thing? It was just...
When we 15 months detained, we went to a place called Warrington House, and I'm only 14, and you had 120 lads in there from the ages of 14 up to 18.
Right.
And basically it was dormitories.
Right.
So they had 10 dorms.
Right.
Or they had something like 6 dorms with 20 lads on each dorm.
Right.
And you had at the bottom of each dorm, in the middle of all the dorms, you had where you poured your shit and your piss out, because there was no proper toilets. You'd have
Right.
to piss in pots and that.
Sounds like something from the Victorian ages.
It was.
Right.
It was. So it's basically a boarding school.
Right.
That's what it was, in the middle of nowhere, Market Drayton. 15 months detained, and it was the worst experience of my life, mate.
Right.
And when I got out after that sentence, I've gone straight into Liverpool city centre, straight to the army enrolment office,
Right.
and tried to join the army.
Fucking hell.
But I was only 16,
Right.
and I had a criminal record.
Was it,
Told me to come back when I was 18.
Right,
But
okay.
by that time, I'm gone.
Right. Fucking hell. And then when you was in jail, I mean, you know, we've had different guests talk about different experiences in jail. I take it because obviously you already had a fearsome reputation. I take it.
Jail was easy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So we developed our reputation in the custodial setting, in care. So when we're in this Dyson Hall on a unit of 60 lads,
Right.
them 60 lads, we're seeing them later on in the YP system.
Right.
So they're aware of us being mad kids
Right.
on the unit in Dyson Hall, and then they're coming across us in the YP system, and we're doing damage in the YP system right through it.
Right.
So the whole YP system shit scared of me and Danny. So by the time you step into the cons, all them cons are basically the YPs you've done your jail with.
Right. Okay. So
You all go through it like a generational thing.
Right. Right. Got it.
So when I'm landing in with me 18, I'm already sweet. I don't
Right.
need to say no. I can just look at someone
Right.
and they know I'm gone.
Yeah.
That's the way we had at jail.
And when you obviously, like you said, you was fucking, you know, fighting and violent. Did you actually box or anything as a kid?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so you was...
I tapped into boxing.
Right, amazing.
When I went round Tommy.
Right, okay. And do you have any fights, like amateur fights, or was you
No,
just doing
because
it?
what I'd done, I ended up going in, I weren't professional, I ended up going into this Solly gym.
Right.
Solly in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And on our estate, we had these brothers called the Burkes.
Right, okay.
And they were a family of boxers.
Right.
And we chilled with them. So eventually, Tommy had this fella, what was his name? Joe something, a taxi driver. And he was like a boss boxing trainer.
Right.
And he introduced me to the Solly.
Right.
And then I started going down the Solly. I think he had a spar or two with
Right, okay.
David Burke.
Right.
He was under Frank Warren.
Yeah.
So I had a little spar with him while he was with Franny, his trainer. And then my life just went criminal.
Right, okay. Yeah, so...
They stayed on the boxing path and I went down the crime path.
Right, right.
So I never...
Yeah.
But I've always been able to throw a punch.
When you was in Liverpool, because we had a guest on recently, Stephen French. I don't know, did you ever cross
I'm aware
paths?
of Stephen Frenchy. I've never crossed his path, like.
Oh, I didn't know, because I know it sounds like a fucking cliche, but obviously, because he was in Liverpool, you was in Liverpool, I didn't know if you ever...
Well, what
was he
happened
older than
is-
you? Was he older than you?
Yeah, he's always 10
right.
years older than me.
Right, got it.
He's like Curtis Warren's generation, isn't he? Tommy Gilday's generation. He's their generation. So fucking... When I first started doing this podcast in 2018,
Right.
I was in a bad place.
Was this when you come out of jail, Darren?
It's afterwards.
Right, okay, so you come out of jail.
I'm out of jail for about a year or a year and a half, and then I do a podcast.
Right,
So I get out in June 2017,
right,
and no, 2016, due to 21st of June 2016,
Right.
and my licence condition was up in December
right,
2017.
right,
18 months licence I had.
right,
And then 6 months after that, I went to that James English podcast
right.
and went viral.
No, I see that, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was
So
really
it
good.
got 1.3 million views in 6 weeks.
Right,
And with that came a lot of clickbaiting rats.
right,
You know, everyone... with that, I became a hate figure for a lot of people.
right.
And people started using me in a way of clickbaiting, talking about me, my life. And he was one of them.
Really?
Frenchy.
What was the clickbait stuff? Was it just literally people just going?
Just talking about me, talking
Right.
about Danny, writing me off, trying to cancel me out, all this sort of stuff.
And
There was a good few numbers of people that are in the podcasting world that when I stopped doing anything with them, they tried to cancel me.
Right.
And he jumped on board with them. And because he was a Scouser jumping on board,
Right,
I took it. So when I've got Scousers chatting shit about me, I take it extra insulting
right,
than if it's a wool. Because they know.
right.
You know as a Scouser. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think a lot of the
A lot of it was on purpose, though.
right,
You know, a lot of people that knew what they were doing was putting these Scousers on their seat,
right.
knowing it's going to antagonise that and this, and it's going to provoke that and this.
So you think it was more done like as a clickbait thing?
Let's yeah,
Right, okay,
cancels that and out.
right,
So you had the likes of this fucking Herbert, this Marvin Herbert. You've had him on here as well.
yeah,
Well, him and James English are like that.
right,
And Herbert, give some kid. So when they're trying to cancel me out, I'm screaming about drug dealers, grooming kids. I'm screaming about the knife crime, the gun crime and all this, and they're hating on it. So what they're trying to do is sabotage the message.
Why would they do that though? Because
They're just horrible
it's a
people,
positive,
mate.
It's a positive message.
Very positive and very powerful. But because Herbert's linked to Daniel Kinahan, and I'm screaming about Daniel Kinahan because he tried to shoot me dead. He tried to get me shot dead on my Mars step in March 2018.
Wow.
So when I come off my licence in December 2017, I go straight to my mum's. Within 3 months of that, the Kinahan cartel have tried to get me shot dead on my Mars step.
What was it? Was that just because you had a row with somebody, or was
Yeah,
that
but one of their grafters.
right?
I've got out of jail and their grafters are picking on my nephews. So I've screamed at their grafters and they haven't took it and ran to the bosses.
Right,
So Marvin Herbert, on his plan to cancel me out, they've popped up with some kid who I'd never met in my life, never spoke to in my life, never even had him in my company.
Right.
When I went to jail, this kid was 12 years old. Do you understand? So this Marvin Herbert has given this kid, who apparently is his family, is Marvin's family. That's what he was saying when he had the interview.
Right.
This Liam Snitchfield, that's what I call him, Liam Snitchfield. People know him on about. Liam Ditchfield, his name is, but I call him Liam Snitchfield.
Right.
So he's gone onto this platform with his cousin, apparently Marvin's his cousin, somehow,
Right.
and started saying I groomed him to sell drugs.
Right.
And I forced him to sell drugs, and I done all this mad shit to this kid when he was 14 and 15, and it was all lies.
Wow.
But once that's been put out there, and you've got Marvin Herbert putting, you know the way you put a post up when we've done this podcast,
Right.
and you'll put like Darren Gee. He put Darren Gee the groomer
Right.
right across YouTube, and all the haters and all the rats that have been trying to cancel me out were having a field day with it.
Right.
Do you understand what I mean?
I mean, the thing is,
And it was all lies, though, Terry.
but to be referred to as a groomer, regardless of what context, it's
Think about what
not
I'm
good.
doing. Think about what I'm screaming about rats grooming kids, selling drugs. I'm screaming at the top of my voice about this shit.
Right.
They're seeing me screaming about choose a life, not a knife, and this and this. And so they're giving the platforms
Right.
to people to tell lies about me.
Wow.
As if I'm a groomer. As if I've made kids steal drugs from me. When it wasn't the case.
Right. I mean, I
Took me a year, 18 months to recover from that.
wow. I mean, one of the big things that I've seen, especially now, and it's I'm sure it's in Manchester and Liverpool, but in London, what a lot of the criminal fraternity are doing is they're getting young kids that are 12, 13, 14, and they're sending them up and down the country with guns, knives, packets of drugs, and they've established this catty lines, sort of drug dealing stuff. So that essentially is, what they're referring to. But when you're actually spreading a positive message, if anything, I want to support that message.
Right.
rather
If
than-
I'm standing here screaming this positive message,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden, everything I stand for is now getting questioned because he's give this liar a platform.
but but you've never met that kid ever.
Never met
So-
him in my life. Didn't even know him. The first time I'm aware of him, someone called Ben contacted me and said, this kid's chatting made shit about you. I'm not going to do the interview.
Wow.
And then Marvin's heard about it and went, I'll do it.
Right.
And took him on.
So he did it on Marvin's platform,
Yeah.
not on James English's platform. Right. Okay.
James English wouldn't do it.
Okay. Because I saw James English did a post which was responding to something that because you
So
had
what, at that time, so basically, I'm flying. So I'll give you a quick bastardised version of it, lad, because people have heard of it, but you probably haven't.
right.
So I'm
And
in
also,
a
our audience may not have heard of it, so it's always good to share it.
yeah.
So
I'm in a bad place. I'm coming out of jail. I'm on the verge of doing something very, very nasty.
right.
So I'm screaming. Someone's contacted me. Do you want to do a podcast? It was English.
Right.
So I say, all right then, go up there and just released all the pent up shit I've had in me since out of custody and all of that. I just let it go naturally.
Right.
And it just went through the roof. So on the back of the first one, he wanted another 2 parts,
Right.
English. So I've agreed to it. But on the first one, he starts talking about this Marvin Herbert.
Right.
Would you sit down with Marvin? And I said, I don't know. I'd never heard of this Marvin Herbert before in my life. The first time I've heard him. So I've said, I don't know. I've gone away from the first podcast, done a little bit of inquiries, and it turns out that Herbert is connected to Daniel Kinahan, which he boasts about.
Right.
So fucking, I've told English then, no. Don't want nothing to do with that Herbert.
Right.
Then he tried to kill me the other year.
Yeah. It's
So
a bit
it-
difficult, so let's go and have a cup of tea.
So I just told that English jog on. I don't want nothing to do with this Herbert. Now, during that period, English is planning to do a Christmas special with me and prison officer Sam Worth.
Right.
So you might have seen an interview with him and Herbert, a prison officer and Herbert.
Yeah, I saw that.
Well, that was meant to be me
Right.
and the prison officer.
Right.
English has put Herbert on this, you know, to like rub it in sort of thing.
Right.
So everything I planned with English, which was to go to some ayahuasca thing, 5 of us, and do a documentary, I pulled it, said I'm not doing that now. And I was the name.
Right.
I was the attraction to everything he was doing now because it went viral.
Right.
Do you understand? So I just started pulling the rug on him. I'm not doing this with you. I'm not doing that with you. I'm not doing that with you. And he just started hating it.
Wow.
And instead of dealing with me, what he done is just started getting all these little rats, like a smoke screen in front of him.
Right.
So now I'm having to deal with these rats who's just developed a podcast that are on the back of me. So out of the blue, from nowhere, you had kids from Wales, kids from Newcastle, just setting up podcasts
Right.
and speaking about me.
Wow.
And getting thousands and thousands of views. But they were ripping into me,
Right.
discrediting me, you know, for this clique.
I mean, I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I've met James, and obviously he's been doing podcasting for a long time, and it's similar to Sean Atwood. And you know, I've always sort of thought everything they've done it professionally. But I've had no bad experiences with him or Sean Atwood. But
Well, you're not on my end of the situation.
right. But
You're on their end of the situation,
Yeah,
aren't you? You're the presenter.
But what I'm saying is, you know, when these, it seems like the world and his wife and his kids, everyone's got a podcast now, haven't they?
Yeah, everyone.
So and I think the problem with the internet, and I've seen it myself, as soon as somebody's popular, everybody starts jumping up, and if they can't get you to go on their podcast, they either talk shit about you or they start going, "Oh, we're speaking to." Darren Gee's next door neighbour who said he'd done X, Y, Z, and we spoke to Darren Gee's news agent, and you're like, what the fuck, you know?
Just writing me off,
random people talking
trying to
bollocks.
discredit me because I've upset all these criminal networks in the city of Liverpool, and Herbert and the Kinahans and all them are still a criminal network, basically.
Right.
They were just targeting me.
Right. And I take it...
They got called out.
Right.
They got called out.
Yeah.
You know, he's been called out a few times, that Herbert, so's that English. So I call that English out. What does he do? He goes to his mate in the Sun. You know, the Sun...
All right.
The Sunday Express in Scotland.
Right.
And they put a big fucking thing in. You've got a knife initiative in London called the Kinsella Foundation.
Right.
You had a young kid called Kinsella. His
Yeah,
sister used to
I remember
work in
that.
EastEnders.
Yeah. Ben Kinsella, yeah.
Ben Kinsella
Yeah,
Foundation. So I've contacted them,
Yeah.
spoke to them. They've agreed to let me jump on board with the Kinsella Foundation.
Right.
And I was going to do a charity ride from Glasgow to London non-stop on a mountain bike for the Kinsella, for the knife campaign.
Because you do look in, like, phenomenal shape, Darren.
Yeah,
I
I'm in
take
good
it
shape.
You train.
mate.
You
I'm
train.
in good shape. So, they've got on me. They've sent me this thing out. So it was done. Basically, all you had to do was promote it, and it was all picking up pace. James English knew that this was a pivotal moment in Choose a Life, Not a Knife, aligning itself to Ben Kinsella's foundation.
Right.
He's went to his mate in the Sunday Record, you know, the Glasgow local paper.
Right.
Darren Gee, Kinsella Foundation threatens podcaster.
Right.
Within an hour, I've got a phone call off the Kinsella Foundation due to the publicity.
Right.
We're going to have to refuse to but make contact us again in a year or two. So we just sabotaged everything about it.
But what happened? Did you threaten him, or did you?
I told him straight, you
Right.
fucking rat.
Right.
You know, I told him straight.
Right. I suppose
I can't get him face to face.
Right.
Do you understand? So I've
Right,
had to scream across social media, you fucking rat, you know what the fuck you're doing.
Right.
And he's used it.
Right.
And then that video that you mentioned where he's coming back,
Right.
thinking he's fucking mad, that was his response,
Right.
trying to cover his tracks. What else he's done and no one else knew? During this madness, when I'm hating on him, they're putting loads of shit out against me and I haven't really got fuck all about him.
Right.
So a message comes through off some girl. Don't know who the girl is. Bam, you got a problem with James English. He done this to me. Sent me all photos. Girl with black eye, bruised up, saying James English, and I thought, fucking power. Right? Put it out there. Got messages off this girl. I'm convinced she's genuine.
Right.
Put these photos and her story out there. The photos are of a completely different girl from Glasgow that's being battered by a different man.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But the shitty thing about it is, the people that sent me the photos, the people that sent me the messages, was James English's mates.
Wow.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So he's got his mates to send me all this shit. I've put it all out there, and it looks like I'm attacking James English out the blue for nothing.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Makes me look like a cunt.
Fucking hell. I mean, that is...
But that's what they do when they're trying to cancel you.
Wow.
They want people to not believe you.
Right.
And that's what they go at. Right. He's lying. But I've been on these social media platforms now for 8 years.
Right.
And everything I've said on these podcasts, mate, trust me, you've had people going through them with a toothpick trying to say, he's lied on this, he's lied. Do you understand?
Do you know what, Darren? Before we did the podcast, I've got loads of different friends, and some of them are on the wrong side of the tracks, and they've gone through the system and they've come out the other end, and they've all said, Darren Gee, the G's, they were without a doubt a massive force in Liverpool, and it's as real as you get. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I've reached out to you and said, I'd like you to come on a podcast and have a chat, because I don't feel. Have you done a lot of podcasts recently, or have you just sort of?
I've done 4 this month.
Wow. So you're back at it then.
I haven't stopped. I've done one every month.
Oh, I've got really excited. I thought I was special.
No, you are, because I'm picking and choosing now. I'm picking and choosing who I'm going with now, instead of just. Initially, I'm just going on anyone.
Right.
So when I've done the English one, English has got his little group already in the podcasting world, and what they like to do is pass you around.
Right.
So you'll go on English, then you'll go on Atwood, then you'll go on his, then you'll go on his, then you go on his, and that's why you see the same face on all their podcasts.
I thought James
Atwood and James are arguing.
But I thought they weren't friends, huh?
Behind the scenes, they're talking.
Oh, right, okay.
You know what I mean? It's like when all this shit was going on, Herbert's attacking Atwood.
Right.
No, because Atwood's like a bit of support for me.
Right.
But even behind the scenes, when all that shit was going on and they're getting loads of... They're communicating. I know that for a fact, you know what I mean? So...
Wow.
It's just a messy... It's a wormy world up there.
Yeah. I mean, I try and... I think in life you've got to give everybody a fair crack. And listen, every podcast that I've done, I've only been doing it for sort of 8 months, but every podcast I've done, every guest I've had, everybody trolls everybody. Oh, he's a liar. That didn't happen. Yeah. You know, and they talk shit about people. And I just look at it and I just think, you know, but I don't know. I mean, people need to get lives, right? Because
I'm trying to make a life for myself, and people are fucking ruining it.
Yeah.
So I've been doing since I got out of custody, just trying to make a life for myself. But where the messages took me, it just makes... Like, I'm in supported housing. I've been in supported housing for 3 years. So 3 years ago, I was homeless.
You've gone through some bad shit.
I go through mad shit, but I'm just like anyone that's going through mad shit.
Right. But I take it, even to this date, you've still not sorted anything out with Marvin, Herbert or James English. You're still sort of...
It's an on-site thing with them too.
Right.
I can keep on screaming across social media,
right,
making myself look like a prick.
Right.
Or I can just keep my mouth shut. And the world's a very small place, mate.
Right. No, it
and
is.
I've learned you come across everyone again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
For sure. And
every dispute, every incident, every conflict, you meet them people again.
It won't be in a toilet or in a
They know. No, they know, mate. They know.
Right.
I've been in a room with these people.
Right.
I've been in a room with James English.
Right.
And I know what I'm looking at.
Right.
You know what I mean, mate?
Yeah.
I can see through your fucking eyes. I can see right into you, and you're a weak piece of shit.
Right.
I know that.
Right. Well, do you know, with all this celebrity boxing now, Misfits,
people have been trying to get me on there for time.
I was going to say it'd be quite funny. You could fight Marvin Herbert or James English.
They wouldn't fight me.
But I reckon that would be like fight.
You know what though, Terry? You know what though? People will go to watch that fight because I'm fighting.
Right.
Not because English or Herbert's fighting, because Darren Gee's fighting.
Right.
So I'm the one that draws the crowds. Do you understand?
I think it'd be good though. I do think
it'll be great.
It'd be good.
I'd love to, mate.
There you go, Misfits. If you're watching, Darren's available.
I'd love to, mate.
Yeah.
Herbert, English, they're knobheads. If I'm gonna go into Misfits, it's gonna be a semi-pro fighter or someone that's being a pro. I'm not gonna go into Misfits and fight a drug dealer.
I think I mean Marvin did have a bit of a boxing thing, didn't he? I don't know if James has ever done anything.
He's blind as a bat, Marvin.
Yeah, but I think he did a bit, didn't he? He did do a bit. I think he did a bit.
Oh yeah, he's always boxed, hasn't he? He's boxed all his life, hasn't he?
Yeah,
That's where he was with Danny Kinahan, weren't it?
Is James English ever boxed, or was he?
James English has been boxing training since my first podcast, and I didn't know, but he was at MTK Scotland training with the Kinahans.
I didn't even know MTK existed in Scotland.
Yeah, they've got a gym in Scotland. That gym in Scotland, yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's been training in that. Wow. So when I first met him, he said, next time I come up, we'll go to the gym. And he's gone, yeah, but I could see him that he was umming and ahhing.
Right.
I didn't realise that he's training in this Kinahan's fucking gym in Scotland.
Right. But that was when you did the James English podcast. Was that after you'd had that assassination attempt, or
afterwards?
Oh, so after you did the podcast, then you had the issue. Oh, it was before.
So someone tried to shoot me dead. Then I've done the podcast.
Right. Okay. Have you been sort of since then? Have you had any more people trying to take you out, or have you kind of just kept a?
It's only the people that tried to kill me were basically the same people that tried to kill me in 2004.
Right.
It's the same group, same.
So obviously you've gone through that, and you've obviously had these. I don't know if you want to call them podcast wars or bad podcast experiences.
So every podcast I've done, Terry. So I've done the English one, and then I liked elevating people.
Right.
So I had kids with 500 subscribers, not many hours watched, contacting me. Would you do a podcast with me?
Right.
Normally people have jogged them on.
Right.
But I liked elevating people.
Right.
So I, like Central Club, Ben Atchett, all these fucking podcasters, I've elevated them.
Right.
To the point where they can get monetized now.
Right.
So just on the back of my thing, they've gained 1,000 subscribers, so many hours of being watched. Now you can monetize the channel.
Right.
Even them started attacking me for them.
Wow.
So all these people that I've elevated and give them the fucking monetization,
right,
all them started targeting me for English and Herbert.
Wow.
Giving me shit on their podcast, and I was the one that put them in the fucking in the eye. You're on it.
Wow.
Mad.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's just in there. I thought I'm now entering the legal world, and in the legal world, you don't get none of that backstabbing shit that you get in the criminal world.
It's worse.
It's 10 times worse because you're led.
Right.
You've got the opinion that these aren't gonna f with your trust. These are legit.
Right.
In reality, they're just blood-sucking fucking leeches, aren't they?
Right. I mean,
they just want your story.
Yeah.
Atwood was the worst for it.
Really? Wow. I hope you don't say that about me.
I don't say it, and that's what they started. That's what they started saying to everyone.
Right.
Oh, look, everyone, he does a podcast where he starts giving shit.
Right, right.
When it's not. So it's like me walking out of here.
This will be the first.
So we walk out of here. You haven't done nothing wrong to me, and they're trying to indicate that I'm just flipping on people and giving them shit.
Right.
When I don't do that, mate. I've never done that.
So this would be the first podcast that you.
I've done loads of podcasts where I'm still cushy with the people.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean? It's just the narrative they try to spin to stop me getting on these podcasts.
Have you ever thought about writing a book, Darren?
I have, mate. Yeah.
Have you
started it.
Right. Okay. Amazing.
But Atwood shit on me.
Right.
I'm not lying.
Fucking hell.
People think I'm lying when I say this shit.
What is going on with these people?
So this is what happened with Atwood. I've told it before, but because it's on live on TikTok, it's never still on the platforms.
Right.
So with Atwood, I've got out. Someone's contacted me for Atwood. I think it was this kid called, forgot his name, some big kid who used to be, forgot his name. And he's got in touch with me for Atwood.
Right.
He said, Atwood's, I can speak to him. I said, well, I've got a book there. You know, the book I was writing.
Right.
And he said, Atwood's interested in your book. He's going to come up and speak to you.
But he's done a few books, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's a publisher, isn't he? So he's come up to Bury, where I was at the time, and done a little video of me talking about our Danny.
Right.
Took me book and fucked off. And fucked off for a year with me book. Wouldn't answer me calls, wouldn't respond to me messages, wouldn't do fuck all. I'd done the podcast with English, and within 48 hours, Atwood's contacted me. I've got your book here, Daz. Do you want to do a podcast with me? Do you understand what I mean?
Right. Wow.
So when I've got the book, back off Atwood, I've said, well, what's going on? He's going, oh, because Atwood's, I'm mentioning a lot of names in my book, the Farleys, and Atwood's attached to these people.
Right.
So he sort of said no to the book, without saying no.
Right. But I definitely
Which
think
discouraged me.
So I don't know if you know this, but I'll share. I'll give you some free information. I had a book about the club scene, and I had it with a publisher, and they give you a little advance. You never get any more money, right? But on this occasion, the publisher turned around at me and said, "Oh, we don't want to do any more of these books. We've printed them off. We sold them all. You can have the rights back." So I thought, okay, well, I'll just keep the rights. I won't do anything. And then someone come out in the woodwork and said, "Why don't you fucking self-publish your book? You know, so you're doing all these club nights. People want to read about it, right?" So I said, "Well, how'd you do that?" And there's a company that you can publish your book with worldwide, and you do a print-on-demand service, which means you've got no stock. So anybody can anybody can download the book digitally on their Kindle or their iPad or their phone or their computer, and they can also press a button and then they print a copy and they deliver it to their house. So they can do all that for you. So I'll give you those details down, because I do think, you know, you've obviously got great story.
People are screaming for a book,
but that's why.
And without a book, there's no film, basically.
Yeah. But the book's and if you self-publish it,
I've tried it, mate. I've done that Amazon,
right?
Amazon thing, doing it, typing it. I just haven't got a fucking clue.
Right. Okay.
And I'm at the point now where I just can't be arsed writing a book.
Right.
I've got loads of people asking me.
Have you actually written a book though? Or
I started writing the book,
right.
And then Atwood stalled, and I just lost interest in writing the book.
Right.
And then a firm from London tapped into me a few years ago, got me a ghostwriter.
Right.
And then they wanted to word the book in a mad way, and they just wanted the book out dead fast.
Right.
So they weren't, do you understand what I mean? So I just pull the plug on that.
Right. Well, we'll have a chat about that.
We'll have a chat, mate.
Because I've got a couple of people that I know who write books, and as I said, if you self-publish the book, you can release it worldwide. You can narrate your own audio book. You can get an actor to do it, but then you retain the rights. So if someone comes out of the woodwork and says, "Darren, I want to do a movie," you own that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you sell it to a publisher, the publisher owns it, right? So, but I'll happily share some stuff with you, because I think you'll find.
Well, the story I've got, mate,
it's great. It's great.
The story, mate, it's powerful. There's too many things involved in it for it to not be noticed.
Right.
So if you just look at the SAS gunman, Darren Waterhouse, who came to kill me on the 6th of April. Just look at him.
What happened there? Because that sounds like a great story.
So on the 6th of April, before I went out and done that murder on that fella and got me 18 years,
right.
I've got into a dispute with this well-known criminal organisation family in Liverpool called the Moore family, William Moore. And we've had a dispute. Because he felt disrespected, he decided to get me shot dead. And what he's done, he's gone to jail for a period of time before he's got back out and jumped on me. And he's met this kid in there called Darren Waterhouse. Now, this Darren Waterhouse was a Coldstream guard. Stood outside Buckingham Palace.
Yeah.
One of them.
Yeah.
And this Darren Waterhouse has come under attack in Bosnia and got his platoon out.
Wow.
And he's been put in front of the Queen, knelt in front of the Queen, and been given a Victorian Cross. Now, this SAS gunman is now on the streets of Liverpool a few years later, shooting dead an 18-year-old kid.
Wow.
Just that is a story in itself. Do you understand what I mean? Without all the other madness going around it.
Right.
There's loads of elements there
Yeah.
that just make the storyline too powerful for it to be ignored.
Yeah. Well, why don't you share some? Because people that are watching or listening to this will all be all over this book now, don't you? They're all going to be like...
I've got people on a regular basis telling me,
right,
do a book, it'll be a bestseller. Do a book, it'll be the bestseller.
Yeah.
See what Atwood does? The way you print on demand for your books,
right.
Atwood will have a boot
Right.
full of books. And what he does to get himself to the #1 bestseller, you noticed he's always at the bestseller.
Right. I've not looked at the books online.
Well,
no.
normally he's at the bestseller,
Right.
you know, for true crime.
Right.
But what he'll do, he'll go out and buy 2,000 copies of his book,
Right.
and that automatically shoves him up there.
Right.
And he'll keep them books in his boot, and everywhere he goes, he's just handing them out.
Right.
But that's how he's keeping himself up there. So
Right,
when people go
right.
to the best true crime books, they're seeing Atwoods because
Right.
he's developed a way of putting himself up there by buying his own merchandise.
Yeah. Well, I think you don't need to do that. I think you'll be able to sell too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, it'll sell like that, mate. Definitely.
Definitely.
It's a very powerful story, my story.
To give the viewers and the listeners, you've obviously shared the SAS thing. You've shared the Kinahan thing. You must have a couple more great fucking stories that you can share with us.
With what?
Well, just like when you was doing your stuff on the street, really, and
Well, there's not much to talk about. So the way I do it, mate, is you're just asking questions.
right.
And at the moment, that question is not a question.
Yeah, it isn't. But I obviously because I don't know you personally, what I would like you to share is when you was actually doing your stuff leading up to when you had those things. There must have been some crazy.
Well, like the violence.
Yeah, there must be some crazy shit.
Well, in that story, you've got IEDs,
Right.
improvised explosion devices, and basically, a few people have heard me speak about this, but I don't really like to tap into it because the authorities might try and tap me into it. Do you understand what I'm saying? But basically, when we were already well known, but when we become extra violent, the busies wanted us off the streets.
Right.
And anyone that associated with us was being harassed to fuck.
Right.
So we've got our group, and then we've got a little group that associates with us. And these have started taking a massive dislike to the tactics that the police are using upon us. So the same group that's round us start having a war with the Lynch family, who own like the 051 nightclub and all the big clubs.
Right.
That same group starts having conflict with these. So this group have asked someone in my group, can you deal with this for us? So someone in my group, without me understanding, has gone and got himself a car, got himself gunpowder, bolts, nails, all this mad shit, filled the car up, planted it in the city centre of Liverpool outside the 051 nightclub that these Lynches owned, and detonated it.
Fucking hell.
It was described as the biggest blast on mainland Britain since the IRA ceasefire.
Wow. So I mean that's probably one of the other reasons why they wanted you off the street.
That there was the beginning of a period in Liverpool that no one likes to speak about.
Right.
Still now. No one likes to speak about it. The police push it under the carpets, the government push it under the carpets. But it was messy. You had 5 police stations shut down because they had these things detonated outside.
Wow. Well, outside the police station?
Right outside. You had cars getting drove into police stations and detonated.
Fucking hell. I mean, it sounds like that movie, Assault on Precinct 13. I mean,
well, no one likes to speak about it.
wow. I mean, honestly, Darren, I've never heard of any of this stuff. I mean, that is absolutely fucking
It's
insane.
all out there. You're just not hearing about it because when I've spoke about it,
Right.
it's being on a live that's not downloaded and put on YouTube.
Wow.
It's on me TikTok or it's on this.
Right. But it's amazing that we've now got this.
But that's why my jail was so hard. That's why the police. So when I'm in custody for my conspiracy to murder, they managed to ship me 76 times
Fucking hell.
in 12 years. So do the maths. It's like 4 prisons a year.
Wow.
They wouldn't let me settle. And I was wondering why the fuck Merseyside police have got the power to ring the OMU department in a prison and say, move Darren. And they're just moving me.
Right.
Without government officials knowing or nothing. Police are ringing a prison. So police outside will ring in Walton and go and move Darren. And I'm getting moved. And then they'd ring Strangeways, move Darren, and I'm getting moved every 4 months.
Did you have a and this is fucking mad question, right? But did you ever have a prison that you actually liked? Was there a prison that you actually went,
There was prisons I was more comfortable in.
Yeah.
But they're all shit, mate.
Right, okay.
They're all the same depressive atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean, everyone says the food's shit.
The food shit, the water's shit, the clothes, everything is shit about prison.
Right.
Everything.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about it.
Yeah, so don't try this at home.
That's what I'm saying. But what you've got these days on your TikToks and your Instagrams, you've got lads from in prison,
Right.
spitting shit, rapping and going viral, coming out and getting into money.
Right.
But what that's doing to the youth, I have heard youth saying, I think I'm best going to jail so I can get recognised for my music.
Wow.
Do you understand? And it's like, this is the narrative that the powers that be are pushing out there. Wow. They're encouraging kids as if prison's not hard. And you're getting loads of videos across TikTok where the prisoners are buzzing and they're all joking and they're showing themselves and the sort of dumbing down just how difficult prison is.
Right.
So instead of persuading kids, look, stay away.
Right.
They're saying, look, don't worry about prison. It's easy.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's fucking tough.
You get a PlayStation now, don't you?
You get a PlayStation. You get all sorts of shit in there, but it doesn't matter what you've got. Once your cell closes at 8 o'clock at night,
Right.
if you've got double figures, you're all right for the first 8 years. Once you touch a decade, then you've got a fucking battle on your hands, mate. That's why most people don't go past 10 years without losing the plot.
Well, I know a friend of mine who was on the podcast recently. He said that when he come out, he said he did struggle. He said it's like you're so used to fucking.
You're so used to a routine and the discipline and the order and the control that when you get out and that's not there. Right. So think about that, mate. I do an 18-year sentence. I get out in 2016, 21st of June. My licence is up the 21st of December 2017. And I moved to Liverpool. But during that 18 months licence, I weren't allowed to contact no one. Right. No brothers, no mum, no family. Couldn't step into Liverpool. Couldn't ring no one. I had like 55 people on my no contact list. And them 55 people were the people that were coming to visit me in prison. All through me prison.
Wow.
Even a month before I'm out, these people were visiting me. Wow. And then a month later I'm out. I can't even speak to them.
Doesn't make any sense, does it? It's just crazy.
What they done was they just sabotaged my network on me, the authorities, because they were blaming me as being the instigator to them explosions. Wow. So when I've gone through my prison, they're blaming me for it.
Wow. And
the first time I've got any clue about me being held responsible for these explosions was in a parole hearing, my first parole hearing, where Merseyside intelligence have come to get me parole refused and laid down all this information that we believe Darren Gee instigated this, and when he gets out, he's going to tap right back into it. So I was just getting me parole refused.
Wow.
Even though everyone in the prison was supporting me release.
Wow. I mean, that is fucking insane.
So I could have got out at 9 years, could have got out at 10 years, could have got out at 11 years. But they just refused me parole on the back of this intelligence.
Wow.
And then 12 years, that was my release day, so they couldn't hold me in. But what they tried to do was get me to sign this thing to do a forensic psychologist assessment.
Right.
Now, if I would have signed that, they came in the last 6 months and tried their hardest to convince me to sign it.
Right.
If I would have signed that, I would have been sectioned.
I mean, they really didn't like you, did they?
They still don't like me now, mate.
Right. Fucking hell.
The authorities in Liverpool, you got to think, like, I've had half of units sacked. I've had chief inspectors demoted.
Right.
I've had officers moved out of the area and policing in other areas.
Wow.
Do you understand?
What was that? Was that just because you sort of terrorised them, or was it because you...
Both.
Right, okay.
Both. You had policemen scared to come out of their houses, mate. They were wearing bulletproof vests.
Right. Fucking hell.
It's all in the Liverpool Echo, that. A policeman popped up about 3 years ago and said, we went rogue on the G family and done a big spread in the paper. Undercover, like, not showing his face, but he basically said, we broke laws to take the G's down. And they did. Wow. And that's why they started getting attacked.
Right.
Because, look, you're a policeman. Come and get us with your police powers.
Right.
If you start coming at us with your gangster shit, we're going to treat you like a gangster.
Right.
And that's why the police station started getting attacked.
Right. Wow.
Because they were doing underarm tactics.
Right.
So, for example, they'd go on the estate up the road from our estate where they're selling drugs. They'd grab the kid off that estate, get the drugs off him, give him a kick up the arse, let him go, come on our estate and put the drugs in some kid's mouth and his hand and get him 3.5 years.
Wow.
Just like that. And that's what they were doing on a regular.
Fucking hell. So like you said, it was
It was fucking normal.
anything to get you guys.
Anything to stop what we were doing. Anything.
By all means necessary. By any means
It
necessary.
was mad, mate. When they arrested me, it was like you had the bomb squad from Northern Ireland raiding my ma's house.
Wow.
So you didn't have a Mariah van and a police car.
Right.
You had bomb-proof Land Rovers.
Wow.
That's who come for me in 2-4.
Fucking hell.
On the back of them IEDs.
Right. Wow. I mean, that obviously was like a bad time in Liverpool.
Massive time,
was
big time.
'cause-
Changed the dynamics of Liverpool that period. Completely changed the dynamics.
Was there drive-by shootings as well, or was it just mainly just like blowing things up and?
No, there was shootings, there was doors getting kicked in, people being shot, kidnapped, all the usual stuff that you get in gangland life.
Right. Right.
But we took it to the next level.
Wow.
So back then, you never heard of broad daylight murders. You'd never even heard of one in Liverpool. We done ours at 3:00 in the afternoon, broad daylight, sun a day.
Wow.
So it got a lot of attention because normally you wait for the night and you go out and do your missions. We just went, fuck it. So it was rare to hear a broad daylight shooting, murder. So we just put everything on its back. We were a next level of violence that they'd never seen before or witnessed before.
Wow.
So when we're going really fucking violent, all them so-called hard old school gangsters are really shitting themselves. And they can't say fuck all to us. And basically, when they've tried to kill me on the 6th of April, although it was Willie Moore that set the whole thing up, there was like 10 gangsters in Liverpool throwing money in the pot to get rid of me because we were disturbing everything.
Wow.
We were disturbing everything. Do you understand? People that have grafted all their life, all of a sudden are getting told, you can't graft. And they're not liking it.
Right.
So they all pissed in the same pot to get rid of me.
Wow. You're still here.
Exactly, yeah. But you've had numerous kids shot dead.
Wow.
You've had family members developing addictions. You've had family members committing suicide. So the whole life is just shite. And you don't realise you're getting into it until it's too late, until you're sitting there with double figures. You realise, but you don't take the action that you need to be taken to prevent it going worse.
Yeah. And when you look back on it now, Darren, like literally from where we're sitting now, over those years, do you look back on anything and regret anything, or do you think you do anything differently?
I've only got one regret, mate, and that's my parents.
Right.
If I was born next door, I'd be in university, probably a CEO.
Right.
But because I was born in this house with these parents,
Right.
this is what you got.
Do you know something though? I had a conversation with someone the other day, and they said a similar thing. They said, you know, whatever I've been from, whatever I've done, has made me who I am.
Yeah, that's
and
what it is, man.
I wouldn't change
There's no
it.
regrets, mate.
Yeah.
That's what your past does to you.
Yeah.
Everyone likes to stay away from the past when the path, your past is your book of life.
Right.
Every mistake, every sort of dilemma that you're ever going to get in your present, it's already been dealt with in your past. So all you've got to do is refer.
Yeah. And what was the calling for you to obviously be vocal and then want to sort of get these kids off the streets, get them out of crime, get them to put the knives down? I mean, you said earlier that you obviously suffered, obviously with your mental health as well. I've
only suffered with my mental health since I've been released from custody with all this harassment and cancelling out type shit. That's the only reason I've developed madness.
Right. But then when you look at all that stuff, do you think that you know, how did you sort of cope with that? Because obviously, if you're getting attacked by people or people are talking shit about you, how have you actually dealt with that? How have you got through it? Because there's lots of people who aren't as strong as you. Do you know what I mean? And they will have.
They will have relapsed.
Well,
They will have
some people
committed more offences and all this stuff.
Or they've topped themselves, or they've got fucking depressed, or they've turned to drugs.
I've been very, very close to topping myself numerous times, mate.
Yeah.
Now I can't because I've got a young daughter and a young son, but...
Amazing. How old are they?
One's 3 and one's 1.
Wow. So...
Two different women.
Right, wow. So I take it you're doing your Daddy G bit on them and you're like, you're going to go to school, you're not going to...
I see what's happened. This shit that I'm going through in Liverpool with the authorities, the minute my baby was born, social services are on the phone to me bird, saying Darren's not allowed contact with the baby whilst he's in Liverpool. He can have all the contact in the world when he's out of Liverpool,
right.
But he cannot meet you or the baby when he comes into Liverpool.
Wow. So they have to come and see you.
They've got to drive from Liverpool to see me, and we get a few hours because it just costs too much money, and I'm only on universal credit.
Right.
So everything I'm able to do,
yeah,
I haven't got the ability to do.
Right.
Because I can't get a job, basically. Right. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
So when I first got out of custody, I was working full time. So 12 weeks out of me getting out of my 18-year sentence, I go straight into a full-time job.
Right.
And I've got that job for 6 months. And I'm paying my own rents on my own house. And then I lose my job.
Right.
And it just causes madness.
Yeah.
Madness.
But I think...
When I've lost my job, no one has said earlier, and I'm looking on doing myself. Right. And I'm on the bed, and I'm in this house. I was in this house. So probation writ on a map, a triangle, and said, you can live anywhere in there. Because I was on full-time employment,
right.
And he had me in this mad hostel in Blackburn, the hours that it was taking me to get to Bradford and back from Bradford was going across me own little time.
Right.
You know, me own. So what they've said is, you can't be working full-time and living in this hostel, so we're going to give you a chance. And we've drawn this triangle in St. Helens. Go and get yourself an house.
Right.
They didn't help me get the house.
Right.
Go and get one. So this is all new to me.
Wow.
So I went out, got on the phone, got a private landlord, got the house, probation have cleared it. Now I've got this 3-bedroom house that I'm paying rent on. I'm only out of prison.
Right.
This is all fucking new to me.
Right.
So now I'm having to pay council tax, having to pay the rent out my wages, and I'm only getting 30% wages because of this tax thing that you do when you first start a job.
Right.
You only get half of your wages or something. So I do it, establish myself, got this house, everything's working nice, I'm feeling good, feeling pro-social, and then I lose my job.
Right.
And when I've lost my job, I haven't been able to get another job. So I've got to apply for the universal credit, the benefit system. Because I got a job when I first got out, I weren't entitled to no benefits that every other ex-prisoner gets who's done a long sentence. They normally get like clothing grants,
right,
food, all this. I weren't entitled to none of it because I started working.
Right, wow.
So now I've lost my job. I've been laid off. Like 20 of us got laid off. I've got to now get back on through the universal credit thing, but it's taken weeks and weeks and weeks. And the landlord at this point hasn't had 2 months' rent. Right. And she wants me out. She's given me an eviction notice. I've showed it to the probation. I'm still on probation at this time.
Right.
I've showed it to probation. They're saying there's fuck all we can do for you. I said, well, what do you want me to do? I've got an eviction notice. Right. Surely this is going to heighten my risk. I'm MAPA 3 Tier 4. What are you going to do? And what they said to me is, we've got 2 options. You can either stay where you are and make something of it, or you can go back to the hostel. And I thought, wow, I'm not going back in that hostel because it was full of fucking wrongings.
Right.
So now I'm in this house. To get me out the house faster, the landlord's come round and condemned the boiler.
Right.
Said the boiler's unsafe, condemned it, took it out. So now I've got no hot water and I've got no heating. So now I'm living in one room in this 3-bedroom house. I'm living upstairs in a bedroom now. Right. This is me. And everything's just coming on top of me. I can't ring no one because I'll end up back in jail. Can't contact no one. I can't just shoot into Liverpool and go to my Mars because I'm stressed. I'm just in this room having to deal with it all. And I'm thinking to myself, I'd rather end it than go back to prison. And that's like the only option he give me.
Right.
The back to prison or this. That's basically what they give me. So I was on the point of ending it. Cleaned everywhere up. Done what I was doing, got the knife ready, and then went searching. That stopped me from doing myself. But from that eviction, I got on a solicitor. When I decided not to kill myself, I went into overdrive. These can't do this to me. So I got on a solicitor. They've sent high probation officers round to where I'm living and just went shit themselves. They realised what they fucking had me in for 2 months. Do you understand what I'm saying? And within 24 hours, they got in touch with this charity called Narco that helps ex-prisoners with accommodation.
Right.
And they're still chasing me now, that fucking Narco.
Right.
6 years later.
Fucking hell.
For rent arrears, $5,500. Mad that, innit?
Better get the book out.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right, yeah,
but
yeah.
what happened is they put me in this house. Probation have recommended this Narco. A fella from this Narco's come. We haven't got a house in St. Helens, but we're going out to get one just for you. So they went out and got a house just for me, decorated it, painted it, got it all ready for me.
Right.
Put me in there, made me sign.
Right.
I didn't realise they're charging me £10 a month for a toaster, £10 a month for a kettle.
I thought it was going to be a charity. Huh?
That's what I'm saying. They're billing me for a
Fucking
kettle.
madness.
So when I've got in this house, I've got nothing. So they've given me a table and chairs,
Right.
which they're charging me £20 a month for. A two-seater couch, which they're charging me £30 a month for. So they're billing me without me knowing.
Wow.
But I've only got 6 months left on my licence, then I'm gone. So as soon as the 21st of December came, I've just left that property and went to my Mars.
Wow.
But there was 3 months left on the tenancy. But I've left.
Right.
So they're not getting paid. So 2 years down the line, when I'm just on somewhere, I've got a fucking letter through my door saying you owe us 1,200 quid. So we started at 12 ton. But they've passed it to a debt collector and they've put £1,000 on it.
Right.
They've cased me for a period. Weren't successful. So they've sold it to another debt collector who's put £1,000 on it. And then another one who's put £1,000 on it. So it's gone through 4 debt collectors and now it's sitting at £5,500. And I'm saying to them, fuck off.
Right.
You're not getting paid.
Right.
I offered them a tenner a month. I can give you the tenner a month. He said no.
Right. Fucking hell.
So the only problems I've got still is off the system. Fuck all these rats out here. I can deal with that shit. It's the system that's targeting me.
Yeah.
Continuously.
Wow. But I think your message to choose a life, not a life, I think it's really strong and I think it's really powerful. Have you reached out to any other charities, Darren, or you?
Just the Kinsella one.
Right. Okay.
And they were on board with it, but then jealous, envious people get involved and shut you down. So
what's your things now for the future? Have you got any goals that you want to attain? Obviously, we talked about the book, obviously a film potentially, but have you got anything else that you're sort of looking?
my first thing is secure, feeling secure,
Right.
and I can't feel secure because of the housing situation.
Right.
So basically, that's what I need basically to give me a sense of security.
Right.
Because I'm in this place now and they're looking on kicking me out.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So just having this constant stress,
Right.
insecurity, could be kicked out tomorrow, could be kicked out the next day.
Right.
It doesn't give you the mind to focus on nothing.
Right.
No, until that's addressed. In the future, I just want to be a family man, mate. I just want to raise my kid. I just want to prevent other kids going down the same path I've gone down.
Right.
I just want a nice, basic, peaceful life with me and my kids.
Yeah.
It's hard to achieve, mate. It's like it's impossible for me to have.
Well, I don't think it is. I think it is possible. I just think that you've got. I definitely think you should focus on the book, and I definitely think you should. I mean, if there's any, and there will be, a lot of charities, mental health charities, knife crime charities, that will probably become aware of this podcast and will probably also be maybe watching or listening to the podcast. So obviously, if anybody wants to get in touch with you,
If anyone wants me to do anything for them, which is going to help the youth,
yeah,
I'm there, mate. And I
well,
don't need paying.
I think you're a good role model because you've been through it, you've done it.
I am a very inspirational young man. Well, I've been through the shit.
Yeah.
And I'm not on these platforms to condone violence or big it up or try and exaggerate how much of a gangster I was in that life.
Right.
Every podcast I go on It's simply to try and encourage the youth
Right.
to have a look at what the fuck they're doing. All you've got to do, and this is what I say, this is what I keep on screaming, open your eyes and your fucking ears and look who's gone down that path before you. You're on an estate, you're 16, 17, look at the 21-year-old lads that was on the estate before you. What type of life have they had? Have they ever gone to prison? Have they got a relationship that's long term? Do you understand? There's loads of things that you jeopardise when you go down that path of crime, when you go down that drug dealing route.
Yeah.
You don't realise you're jeopardising it because you're on the material thing. You've got nice trainees, you've got to watch, you're going on holiday with your boys. But when the shit hits the fan and your boys are gone and they're moving on, they never got nicked. You're the soft that got nicked.
Right.
You're in jail. They forget you. They've got a bird outside. They're having kids outside. You're missing all this.
Right.
So I went to jail at 24 and got out at 36. That window, that decade there at 24 to 34 or something, that's where you create your kids and set up shop with your wife and put everything in place. So when you're touching your 40s, it's just a nice life. I've missed that, and I have to do that now.
Yeah, but I definitely think, I'm because I know a lot of the prison services, they want ex-cons to go in and obviously.
But not a G.
No, have you already tried that one?
No, I've never tried it. I just know, So when you see the news now and they're putting a representation of the Prison Officers Association on there, you're getting a Mr. Fairhurst, bald-headed fella. He's the head of the POA now, the Prison Officers Association. He's the main man for them. He's battered us all our lives in the blocks and the segregation units in the YP prisons. Right. And our Danny's broke his best mate's arm.
Right.
So they're never going to let a G represent good. Right. That's why the police don't allow it.
But I genuinely think...
It takes someone with a set of balls to go, you know what, Darren? Fuck the authorities. We're going to give you a go. That's what it takes, basically.
But I honestly don't think you should give up. I think you should keep chipping away.
I'm not giving up.
Because I honestly think if you keep chipping away, eventually you will get that platform. And I think the book is actually the gateway for you to actually get your story out there, get the beginning, the middle, and then where you are now.
Because it's a 3-part book, mate.
Yeah.
You know, you've got me prison life, then you've got me gangster life, and then you've got me life as it is now, me reformed life.
Yeah.
I've got prison stories through the roof. So I can do a prison book.
Right.
And then do me gang book.
Right.
And then do me reformed part 3 book, if you like.
Right. But there you go. So you've got a trilogy of books.
Easy.
You could have a trilogy
but you know
of films.
what, mate? I just can't be arsed.
Right.
I just can't be arsed. You know when you've tried something so many times and you just go, you know what?
Right.
So I could write a book easy.
Right.
You don't even have to write it these days. I can just go on AI.
Right.
and just give them one paragraph and go, give me 1,500 words, and they'll just write you a book.
Right. I don't know if it'd be that good though, because the
I reckon
AI
it'll
is
be fantastic.
The AI haven't caught up yet though.
Oh, isn't it there yet?
No, not yet. But I think your story is fantastic. But I don't think AI, because everyone I know that's done the stuff with the AI, they've said that you've got to give it lots of information and you've got to feed stuff in, and obviously it takes it from the internet. So if you just said, "I'll write a book about me," it would just take everything off the internet.
All the negatives.
So you get stuff that's not true. So you'd have to like read through it and go, well, hang on a minute, that's not fucking right. So you probably spend longer.
But who cares?
Put it right.
Who cares? No one's going to know the fucking difference, are they?
But you'll know, Darren.
Yeah, I
you'll
know.
know.
I've got the integrity in it. It's all about how you're coming across, isn't it? So I've never lied, mate.
Right.
I've never lied in all these podcasts.
Right.
Ever. And I'm not going to start lying in a fucking book. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No. That's why I think you need to sit
I just haven't got the drive. I can't be arsed sitting there writing, because I don't type.
Right.
I write it.
I'll have a chat to a couple of people I know write books, and I'll see
if you've got a decent ghostwriter, mate. Well, that's what that English done as well.
Right. Yeah.
Straight after this podcast, they recommended me to this fucking book fella.
Right.
And they've contacted me. And I'm thinking, because I'm saying to English, I need to, is there anything to write a book? I've got this fella. So he introduced me to this fella called Jamie from Newcastle.
Right.
And within 5 minutes of me speaking to him, he sent me these fucking documents. Sign them. sign all them. And basically, he wanted the right to everything for 1,500 quid.
Right.
I just went, you fucking laughing? You having a laugh? I'm desperate, but I'm not that desperate. But that's what that was English trying to suck the fucking drive out of us. So if I would have wrote that book for 1,500 quid when I was desperate, he knew I was desperate. If I would have wrote that, I would have lost the rights to any documentary, any film, any of my story. That's what they wanted. The whole rights to all my story. It's fucking weird, wasn't it?
Well, I'll definitely put you into a couple of people that won't do that, but they will. I think there'd be a way you can work with somebody where they're right with you, and then obviously you can work out a deal with them, and they can release it, but you can still keep the rights to your film, documentaries, whatever else you want to do. And obviously, once you've done the first one, once it's a success, it's easier to do the second one because everyone who's bought the first one will want the second one, and then everyone who bought the second one will want the third one. So yeah. But I think I'll definitely I'll definitely do that, Darren.
I'll look into it, mate.
Yeah.
I think there's better ways of earning money, to be honest, than writing a book. I think writing a book, you've got to have had a life story. I haven't had a life story yet.
You've had a great fucking life.
Yeah, but it's not over.
But what I mean is,
it needs
part one.
I know, but it needs the end game, and that's what I'm trying to establish now. It needs the success.
Yeah.
It's all right me coming out of prison and just living this life, but what have I become successful in?
Yeah.
And that's what it needs. It needs the end game before the book can be written.
Yeah.
No conclusion.
Yeah.
So if I start writing this book now and I get into this where I am now, and now I'm delivering this message, and I've done this and I've done that, and then there's nothing concluding it. So it'll be like pointless.
Right. So I haven't convinced you into writing a book yet.
Loads have been trying, mate. And you know what? When the time's right, I'll probably do it. But it's when the time's right.
And if anybody wants to get in touch with you, where's the best place to get on Instagram? Or
I'm very hard to get in touch with.
Right.
People, what people started doing was going to Atwood, because I was doing a lot of content with Atwood.
Right.
And what Atwood was doing was saying, oh no, he's not interested. Oh no, he's not interested. But not telling me.
Right, okay.
So loads of people were getting on Atwood to do work with me.
Right.
And he was cutting it down.
Right.
And I only found out that years later.
But anybody who watches this podcast that goes, I want to speak to Darren, what's the best way for him to contact you? Is there a preferred way? Or just...
If people want you, they'll find you, mate.
Right, okay.
And that's the way I've always been.
Right.
If people want to find you...
You sound like the A-Team, remember the A-Team show?
But
if you know them, you can find them.
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? Do you understand what I mean, old Terry? That's exactly what it is, lad. If people want you, they'll come and get you, mate.
Absolutely.
If they want to work with you, they'll find to work with you.
Yeah.
I'm not into trying to, put myself out there.
Right.
Do you want to work? Is there anything you can do with me?
Right.
If people are sitting there thinking we could do something and they act on it, well, then they'll find me.
Yeah. Brilliant.
I'm easy. If you want to work with me, let me know.
Yeah. Wicked. Well, Darren, I really appreciate you coming on today.
All day.
It was good hearing.
It was different.
Well, do you know something? I wanted it just to be relaxed. I wanted you to be able to share some of your stories. Obviously, we didn't go massively into everything because obviously I wanted to just meet you.
It's best. It's best as well, Terry, to leave some to the imagination, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think you've given us some great stories today. You shared some things that I've not heard you share before, and I think the exciting thing for me is the book. I know you said you're still not ready to do it, but I think the book would be good.
I can be convinced. I've said to people in the past, do you want to do 50-50?
Right.
That's the way I am.
Yeah.
Do you want to do 50-50? Let's go.
Right.
So if I write a book and you help me get it done, everything that comes on the back of that book, 50 is yours.
Right.
That's how I've been all my life, basically. Right. No one's working for fuck all with me.
Right. Sharing the love.
Always.
Amazing.
Always, mate.
Well, Darren, it's really good to meet you.
Pleasure, mate.
Thank you so much for coming.
Well, what I'd like to do is make a... Because are you the one with Lockstock? No, not Lockstock.
Rise of the Foot Soldier.
Rise of the Foot Soldiers.
Yeah.
So I think I apologised to you on the phone the other day, didn't I? When you first rang me, I've said, I think I gave you shit the other week because you were sitting with Marvin. So I'm sorry about that. Do you remember me saying that to you?
No, I think you asked me. I think you said, "What's your relationship with Marvin?"
That's what I said to you. What's your relationship with Marvin? First of all, isn't it? What's your? And then I said, yeah. But after that, I think I apologised to you. Said, I think I'll give you a bit of shit the other week.
No, I don't think you did. I think you just said,
well, just in case,
right.
A public apology. It's best, that's what it is, isn't it? So now I've done this interview, you might get someone where you've been with Marvin and I've said, oh, his films are shit.
Right.
So I'll make this public apology now. It was just me hating on Herbert. Do you understand what I'm saying?
That's right. You can say my films are shit. I don't mind.
No, it's the same with all films, though, isn't it? The first one's proper boom, and then the rest are just, let's make a few quid.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with all films and all I think when you get a franchise, you just
once you've got it, you're happy days, aren't you? It's like a brand, isn't it?
Yeah. But I'm involved in it, but I don't own it. Somebody else owns it. So yeah. So if you say it's shit, I won't get upset.
No, well, the only reason I was saying shit was because I heard it.
Right.
Which was wrong of me.
Right. Okay.
Because what I started doing is these people that tried to cancel me out.
Right.
Whoever I seen them with, I started thinking, was they in on it? And I just start hating on them, which is wrong of me. But that's life.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for coming on, Darren.
My pleasure.
I wish you all the best with choosing a life, not a knife, and helping change.
I've changed loads of people's lives, mate.
Yeah, I think it's really good that
you don't need to speak about it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not here to I won't take the videos of the messages and go, look, this is the work I'm doing.
Yeah,
people will talk amongst themselves, mate.
Yeah, amazing.
It's the best way.
Choose a life, not a knife. What a great message. Darren Gee, what an amazing guest. Thank you for tuning in to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another amazing guest, and I'll see you on the other side.
Been holding it in for about half an hour.
Well, it's going to be in the trailer, don't you?
Oh, it's going to...